Hello.
Hi. I was just turning my lights on. I'm so
Oh,
sorry,
no,
everybody.
no,
Um,
we're all good now. We're live.
okay, great.
Do we want
Hopefully,
to try and send one more request and see if Steve can join separately, or
yeah, we were just on the phone to each other, panicking. So
yeah,
he should be on his way. Sorry,
okay.
everybody. I feel like a very old lady with Instagram issues. Oh, dear.
So it's not looking like I can invite Steve. You can try what you just did. So try requesting to join and see whether that works. But we may be thwarted by tech there a little bit.
Well, let's
Oh,
get.
hold on.
Oh, is he in?
I've got a notification. I think maybe Instagram's having a bit of problems today because we not normally have this issue, but
It might be me. I am a bit of a jinx when it comes to technology.
it'll all be good. It'll be good. So while we try and sort this out, hello everyone. If you want to just pop in the comments where you are tuning in from, it'd be really cool to kind of see where we've got people joining us before we get going. I'm not sure that this is. I'm not sure it's going. Oh, hold on. Let me try this. We might just be. You might be flying solo, Nat. To be honest.
Ah! Oh no! If only Steve had got in first.
Yeah. But hello. So we've got some people from Worcester. We've got Horton's Hounds from hello. Martina. We've got in.
Denmark. Hello from Denmark.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know hello in Danish, so I can't.
I don't know any Danish. No, apologies.
Sorry. But
But you can do it now. Yes.
yeah, awesome, awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of hand over to you. Oh, from Exmouth. Hello, well, we're from. Well, that's definitely where Tug-E-Nuff is from. So cool to have you with us. And so I'm going to. You gonna be? You'll be okay, Nat. Yeah. To.
I'll be fine. I'll be
Awesome.
fine. I mean, it would be better with Steve here,
Yeah.
but everyone knows that already. So don't make me feel too bad that you've got to put up with me and you haven't
Oh.
got the cool one.
He's here in spirit, so he just said. So
Okay.
that's all good. So I'm going to kind of let you just go, basically.
Okay.
I will. What we'll do? Are you happy for people to ask questions along the way, or
Definitely.
yeah,
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I think
sure,
I've got like we've got a bit of an overview of what to discuss, but it would be great to get interaction because
sure,
we want this to be useful,
sure.
as useful as possible for everybody.
Yeah.
And if you want to dip in as well, Danny, that would be
Sure.
great. So
No worries, that's fine. I'm really sorry that I'm a bit wavy. I've let my phone run out of power a little bit, so I've had to plug it in. I normally put it
okay.
on a thing. So yeah,
I haven't got anything to put mine on either, so you'll have to bear with
same,
us.
the same. So if you've got any questions as we go along, pop the questions. There's a little, or there should be a little question mark icon. Just tap that and pop your question in, or you can pop it in the comments, one of the two. The good thing about the questions is I can come back to them at the end and we can tick them off that we've answered them all. So up to you. But yeah, Nat, take it away.
Fab, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. You are joining me on my journey, the first ever Instagram live that I've done. So it's going really smoothly so far. Uh, and all of us at PACT are really excited about our collaboration with Tug-E-Nuff, and Danny's very kindly invited us along to talk about how to find a trusted dog trainer, which is obviously a bit of a $1 million question, really. And I'm sure some of you listening either want to be that trusted dog trainer that people can find if they're looking for someone to help them with their dog, you might be working as that already, or you might be a dog guardian that is trying to find a decent, I don't know, gun dog class nearby, and you don't know where to start, because we've all been there with not just dog training, but if you Google and try and find a service provider, it's almost a bit too much choice sometimes, and you don't know how to navigate an industry that you might not sort of be in or know much about. So I'm hoping that what I'm going to go through tonight is going to be useful for all of you out there. And for any of you that know PACT at all, we are not about naming and shaming, or slating any professionals. So this isn't a these are the only people to go to type piece of advice, because although we do have a bit of regulation in the industry of dog training and behaviour, it can still be difficult to form part of that. Steve's here! Yay!
Hooray!
I was just
Sorry, carry on.
No, great. You can jump in after I've done my first bit. So if it's all right, Danny, I was just going to start off, and everybody that's listening, and just give a little bit of an overview of where we sit, where PACT Dogs Training, so the Professional Association of Canine Trainers, where we sit in the industry. And then that hopefully will set us up for all the other bits and bobs that we can go through. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course, definitely.
Right, it's a bit of alphabet soup, so there are lots of acronyms in the dog training industry. I'll do my best not to mess them up, but PACT are an organisation on our own merit. There's four of us, four directors, and lots of other wonderful people that get involved in our work, and our real passion is helping people to build their skills, start a business, develop a business, find a community, and really have a good time as best they can working in this wonderful industry of supporting people and their companion animals, particularly dogs. We are regulated in our own right, so we're a limited company, so we have that kind of legal framework there. We're also a member organisation of the ABTC, which is the Animal Behaviour and Training Council. Now they are one of the sort of regulatory bodies within the dog training industry, and they're a charity, and they were set up many moons ago to collaborate, pool resources, and promote welfare-friendly training for all companion species, not just dogs. So we sign up to them as a member organisation, and so we're accountable to them in some way, much like we're accountable to Companies House if we don't pay our tax. If we give a student or a punter a bad experience, then they can also go to the ABTC and say, hey, we didn't have a very good time. And we're also PACT going through the process of Ofqual recognition as an awarding body. And again, that'll be another level for our learning and all of our teaching resources. That means that basically we've put some stuff together. People that know what they're doing have looked through it, and they've given us the tick to say, okay, these guys are doing a good job. And if they're not doing a good job, tell us about it. And that's what we think is really important about being part of a sort of wider network. You'll often hear that the dog training sector is unregulated. Actually, there is regulation there. We're under-regulated. We don't have, big, strict government protection over our terms that we can use, our job titles. But we do have the Animal Welfare Act. We do have all the business legislation that's there. And then organisations like us choose to have that extra regulation in the form of the ABTC, for example. And there's other organisations as well. So if you haven't heard of the ABTC, then please go and have a look at their website, because they're kind of the umbrella of a lot of the organisations out there that are teaching people how to become dog trainers and behaviourists, assessing them and their skills, and pushing forward and championing for best practice and welfare friendly methods being used on our companion animals in the places that matter. So, you know, going to DEFRA, going to the House of Commons and speaking there. So that's where we sit. Have I missed anything, Steve, or was that an all right little summary?
I was just about to go home. I thought you covered that really well. In fairness, I thought that was excellent. Well done. Congratulations. Yeah, I'm glad you're here to do that bit, the bit with all the acronyms, and because I think I think you do it without too much jargon, and it helps people understand, you know, what it means, where PACT is, and what the ABTC is in terms of all of those sorts of things. So yeah, I think that was brilliant. Well done.
Cool. Any questions on any of that and the ABTC from our lovely watchers, listeners that are all saying hi?
But I think you guys should, if you, I've not seen any questions yet, but you should see the little question mark down on the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you tap that, you can kind of see any questions that come in as we're going along.
Yeah. Fabulous.
Okay.
Well, should we get into the weeds a little bit then about the topic of this? What makes a trusted dog trainer? Because I was kind of I've been spinning this around in my brain a lot this week, as you can well imagine, I'm sure. And there's so many different things to talk about, I think, in this topic. It's a really interesting one. So I'm really happy that we got invited to talk about this. And I think it comes down to, I'm going to nick something that someone else said this week. So it came up serendipitously on the Facebooks this week. I saw someone post a meme, and this was Sally Gutteridge, who's a well-respected dog trainer behaviourist as well. And on her meme, it had this quote, which I think is really, really nice and kind of encapsulates what I would like to talk about anyway. And this is sort of like a question that you would maybe ask to, say you were thinking about employing a dog trainer. You've reached out, maybe you've got on Facebook, you've looked in your local groups or whatever, you've reached out, you've got a few names. This would be a good question to ask. And it goes like this. Does your training, so imagine you're speaking to said dog trainer, does your training approach create associations that support my dog's confidence, emotional wellness and well-being? And for me, I was really happy that came up this week, because I was trying to put that into words myself and failing miserably. And then someone else did it for me, hooray. But for me, that kind of encapsulates what I feel a trusted dog trainer is. It's someone who, through their coaching, is going to create associations that support your dog's confidence, emotional wellness and well-being. I think wellness and well-being, they're the big ones there for me. They're the huge ones. Would you agree with that, Nat?
Yeah, definitely. And I think ultimately, you know, we've been in this game for a while, and we're really lucky. We've worked with some lovely people, and we've kind of set out our stall to attract the kind of people that we will be able to get on with. And I know that on a lot of my new client forms, sort of one of the last questions I ask for is, what are your priorities for working with me? And, you know, on more than one occasion, numerous occasions, the client's written, I just want to make sure my dog is as happy as they can be. And it's like, what more can you wish for from a client? And so being the trusted dog trainer, I think, well, if they found me, that's all I want too. You know, I want you all to live as happily as you can together without sounding too, you know, hippy-dippy about it. There's skills involved in doing that, obviously. But the word trust is really key, I think, to what you've asked us to talk about, Danny, because I think a lot of that comes from knowing that there's an evidence base behind what you're going to advise the client to do, knowing that their ethics and their ultimate priority, like Steve says, you know, that well-being side of things and building the dog's confidence is you know, you're both on board with that. And I think that trust is fundamental in building confidence. You know, choice and trust creates confidence. We work through that in behavioral modification programs with you know, non-human animals and humans, and so I think it's really important, and for those of us that want to work with people and their dogs, being trustworthy has all of these little elements, like, you know, where are you getting your information from? How are you passing on advice? How are you putting yourself out there into the world via your marketing? What do people see you saying publicly about other professionals? Do you collaborate with other professionals? If so, how does that go? And that's before we even get to the dog training. So there's so much involved in it. But that's a really nice sort of pithy way of putting it, that meme that you had, Steve.
Yeah. I think what would be a useful kind of thing to go through tonight would be maybe some potential kind of green flags and red flags. So what people might be able to look for. As we kind of alluded to, it's a huge topic. So like picking some of these out, some of the like maybe more obvious ones. There are others that maybe that we won't go through tonight, but certainly I've got a few written down. So maybe I can bring some up and we can talk them through now. What do you reckon?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So the first one that I think is some kind of transparency in the way they train. So their the word I can never say, methodology.
Methodology.
Methodology. Easy for you to say. That word I can never say. So some kind of transparency in the way they train. So I kind of feel like a trusted dog trainer should sort of clearly state how they intend to train, how they intend to approach a training session. Not just kind of what they train, because I think every website will maybe show that, like, this is what I do, you know, loose lead walking, for example, recall, those kind of things. So for me, if I'm looking at a website of a trainer, I would want to see things on there like, you know, all of the things that maybe the people on here would agree with, like positive reinforcement, science-based, these kind of words, welfare first, obviously.
Tug-E-Nuff toys.
Tug-E-Nuff toys all over the website, everywhere, obviously. Yeah, well, that goes without saying, doesn't it? And sort of going back to that quote before from Sally, they should be able to kind of explain what happens in a way when the dog gets it, I don't want to use the word wrong, but like how they intend to motivate your dog in some way, shape or form. And if that answer would then involve, this is for me, pain, fear, intimidation, then I would see that as a massive red flag. What would you say, Nat?
Yeah, great. So green flag is that they're actually stating what they're gonna use, how they're gonna do it, and the red flag is, you know, within our code of conduct and the ABTC code of conduct, that's what we've signed up to. We're very transparent about that. So we're not here tonight to debate which methods are, you know, most effective and all that kind of stuff. And our ethical stance is that we don't use fear, pain, intimidation to influence the behaviour of dogs in PACT. And if I was looking for a training class to go to, that's what I'd be looking for in a professional. So I'm Rounders said, green flag, they're a PACT member. Oh, love it, love it. And yeah, so all of the organisations within the ABTC have signed up to that same code of conduct. So that's why it's a good place to start if that's what you're looking for. But I think it's very easy to have a whizzy website, isn't it, that looks swish and, you know, has lots of testimonials and stuff on there. But once you start looking past that, you want to kind of look for the substance behind the sheen, really, and make sure that ultimately you're putting yourself and your dog in the hands of this professional. So ask questions. You know, if it's not clear on their website, then ask them. And again, for me personally, if someone isn't willing to answer my questions, you know, not like a 2-hour Jeremy Paxman interview, but just a few you know, open and honest questions, then that's kind of my answer for me, because that would be a red flag for me. And maybe we're not going to be able to work together, or we won't work well together. So yeah, what other green and red flags have you got then, Steve?
So I think another one for me would be some sort of either something on their website, or maybe if you delve a bit more into, you know, contacting them and talking to them, but some sort of, I want to be seeing some focus on the kind of human-dog relationship, you know. I think for a lot of us, what I would describe as ethical dog trainers, it's about building that kind of partnership. You know, that's the thing that we love. That's the thing that we love to see. And without that partnership, you know, we all talk about training, yep, training this, training that, training, and that's wonderful. Don't get me wrong, I love dog training, but at the core of all of it is the relationship and partnership between the guardian and the dog. Without that, you've got nothing. So I would be looking at something, you know, on there that speaks to that in some sort of way. You know, yeah, we're talking about a trusted dog trainer. I would really trust someone who that it kind of encourage the guardian to be a safe haven for the dog, not someone that's, you know, like, you know, wagging their finger or doing worse or anything along those lines. So yeah, something along those lines I think would speak volumes to me about a trusted dog trainer.
Yeah, and I think, you know, in the age we live in with all the social media, a lot of trainers will put stuff out there of them working their own dogs, or, you know, and if you watch that and you can get a feel for how they are interacting with their own dogs, and how easy it is for them to kind of look bonded, and how they're motivating their dog. Does their dog look happy? And if you're not sure how to understand whether their dog looks happy or not, there's loads of great resources out there to kind of upskill and know some little body language things that might be troublesome. We've got a free course as well, so we'll provide the link if anyone wants to sign up and learn a bit more, because once you get your eye in, I mean, it is a bit of a blessing and a curse, but once you get your eye in for a dog that looks relaxed and enjoying themselves versus a dog that is maybe still going through the motions but is giving tail signs, excuse the pun, that the dog can be the red or green flag for you as well. So yeah, I think ultimately we can all probably say, those of us with dog training experience, we could all say, I'd be fine with that dog. But the skill in being a trusted dog trainer and a good instructor, a good coach, a good professional that can help someone else with their dog, is that you don't make anyone feel belittled. You don't make anyone feel that, you know, oh, they'll be better off with you. You empower them to build a better relationship, see things from, you know, each other's point of view, make it a achievable for them, make it fit within their lifestyle. You know, there are ways that I live with my dogs that I'm sure other people, that wouldn't fit into them, and it's not my job to storm into their house and tell them to live how I live with my dogs. I've got to come up with ways that are within the code of conduct that works for them. You know, someone that's got 3 kids under 5, is working part-time, you know, is rushing here, there and everywhere, really wants to try and make their dog as happy as possible, they can have a very different training plan to someone who's recently retired and wants to, you know, spend their days walking the hills with their dog. There's no one size fits all approach when it comes to you know, helping people with their relationship. There's no one size fits all relationship, but the only thing that is one size fits all is the code of conduct that we work within.
I've just noticed that underscore CTM underscore 799, catchy name. It's starting with PACT in April.
Hey!
So, wow. Hello, welcome. Looking forward to seeing you. Are you really? Yeah, you
I was
really.
just going to say, like, hopefully the fact that we can't use Instagram hasn't put you off.
Hey, don't go behind the curtain. We're here.
Yeah, all right, true.
It's all
true,
learning.
True.
It's all learning, isn't it? Now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know how to use it.
Now we know. Now we know.
Well, that's debatable. That's debatable, Danny. But we'll carry on. Yeah, actually, you struck a chord with me there, Nat, because I think all of the best trainers that I've ever worked with, one of the people that I would trust in terms of working with me and my dog, have also been empathetic towards the kind of human side of that as well. A good trainer supports, like you said, supports the guardian without any kind of judgment. They're very understanding. They coach the person as much as they coach the dog. And anyone on here who's a dog trainer will understand it's as much about coaching the people as it is about coaching the dog. And to have that sort of empathy makes you a really good dog trainer, and I would say a trusted dog trainer as well.
Yeah.
Shall I go on to my next green flag? I've got another.
Yes,
Before you do that, I've got one question that's come in. Yeah. So Sue Holloway says, how important do you think it is for behaviourists or trainers to be certified?
Hi, Sue. Thank you for the question. Yeah, I mean, it depends what you mean by certification. So if you've got something in mind, then clarify it. But you happy if I take this one from Sec, Steve, and then you can jump in if I've got anything?
Yeah.
If by certification you mean some kind of formal qualification or an accreditation where the practical skills have been assessed, so, you know, those things that we dread with someone watching us train and then marking our ability to perform the job, I think it's really important. I don't think sticking with the one size fits all. I don't think there's a one size fits all approach to some kind of qualification or accreditation. Because people's lives aren't like that. People can have financial constraints. They may have a family they need to support. So just, you know, going off to university for 3 years is not something that's accessible to everybody. And the one thing that PACT and all of the organisations in the ABTC and the ABTC themselves are always striving to do is not to pull up the ladder behind anyone, bring people along with you. So if there are standards, which there are, and our courses are accredited to particular standards, and that's what we assess our students in, it can sometimes, if you're not in that, it can feel like there's gatekeeping. And, you know, that maybe people are trying to trip you up and that you're not good enough, or why should I have to sort of prove myself? No one's asking anyone to prove anything to anyone, really. You've got to want to do it. And what happens then is the community of qualified and accredited trainers becomes a really supportive community where we are all pulling each other up, and we're proud to wear that badge that says, I've learned these particular skills and I've demonstrated them in a kind of more formalized environment. Therefore, I am fulfilling particular business and coaching and canine cognition and ethology, kind of all of those things that make us what we would hope is trustworthy. It kind of just says that in one badge. I don't think there's any way that is perfect, and you have to find the journey that you want to go on. So I certainly would never want anyone to feel that if they haven't been to university or done a college course or worked in the industry for 20 years or been assessed, that they are lesser than. That's not what this is about. What this is about, what accreditation is about, is pulling the industry standards up so that we're all there together, working in an industry that the public can be proud of and that we can all be proud of. It's not about individuals. I hope that kind of answers. It's a really difficult topic, and probably one that we could talk loads about, but I hope that is kind of music to some people's ears, because I know that there is a feeling of elitism sometimes, that, you know, if you haven't got that piece of paper, then you're not in the gang, and that is not what we're about at all. But when there are standards, we have to help people to reach those standards by practical experience or by doing a course. So yeah, what do you think, Steve? Have I missed anything there? I'm just wanging on a bit too much.
No. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. To be quite honest, I think you're right. I think there's many kind of independent trainers that are highly skilled, science-based, deeply compassionate, like we are. And I think it is where, like you said, it's acknowledging that there are barriers sometimes to joining organisations, financial, you know, and all of the things you talked about. I just think in those cases, you know, this is why these kind of green flags, red flags might be more useful. There's so many amazing trainers out there, and they're not all associated with organisations. But the fact that some organisations have code of conduct and things like that make things a little bit easier, maybe for the public, potentially. But then that's why maybe this conversation is such a good one, because the green flags and the red flags, and you know, you can ask for evidence of, or look for evidence of, like, things like ongoing education, which we'll get to in a minute. But I think, yeah, I think it puts a bit more emphasis on the guardian to do their own due diligence, perhaps. But that doesn't mean that they are not a trusted dog trainer in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, I like what you said there. I've got another green flag. If I have a green flag before we get to the red flags, does everyone want to hear the red flags? Is that what everyone wants? Okay. My last green flag was, and there could be many more. I acknowledge that there could be loads more, and I'm sure you might be shouting at your phone, thinking of other ones. But I think a commitment to kind of continuing your education, I think, is essential, and I think that shows a level of trustworthiness as well. So, you know, one of the wonderful things about dog training, and if you're in any way love watching dogs, watching animals, and you will know that this field just evolves faster than anyone can keep up with. And for that reason, the people that become dog trainers, or the people that I know that become dog trainers, are just these wonderful people that just want to suck in all of the information that is out there. They want to go to every conference, not that they can afford it. I'm talking about me right now. Or, you know, listen to every podcast and watch everything on YouTube and all of that. It's a constant, and we never feel like we've learned everything. I think that's a potential red flag. The person who, you know, comes across like, I know all of everything. I think if you're in the hands of someone who is a constant student, I think you're in good hands. I think that's a massive green flag. So if you're going on websites, if you're looking at things, some sort of indication that, you know, I've done this year, I've looked at this, I'm part of this, you know, or whatever it might look like, that shows that someone is continuing in terms of their learning.
Yeah. And with that in mind, I've just been decorating my office. I'm going to give you a quick flash of my new bookshelves. Just a few books there. So, you know, and I'm not saying that everybody needs to be that geeky. I mean, it's obscene. But it's really important that people that are, you know, taking people's money to train dogs are keeping up with things that are current in terms of new ways to train. You know, fundamentally, dogs learn the way they learn, and we know what we know at this time. You know, as things change, if you're not tapped into those networks, it's easy to become a bit stale and do things the way that you've always done them, just because that's the way you've always done them. And with all of our students and members, we really encourage them to not only read and watch and listen, but shadow, you know, go and learn from as many different people as you possibly can, because there'll be different things that you pick up. And I know that Steve will agree, when we have our fieldwork part of the course, you know, we're learning things from the students. Learning is not a one-way process, it's a two-way process. We're always very open-minded about new ways of doing things, and it's great. There's some lovely comments here as well saying knowledge is key. Yeah, forever student. And thanks, Ems. I love a good bookshelf too.
I just want to say, yeah, I completely wholeheartedly agree with that, as you would expect, maybe. In terms of like us learning as well, like one of the things that I love about, and I talk about this a lot, but I get to watch the PACT students submit their homework tutorials, and we don't have like a strict rule of like you have to do it like cookie cutter sort of training, so people can train dogs however they want as long as it falls into our ethical kind of framework. I'm sure Cam, who just commented above, who's joining us in April, will realise this when she does the homework stuff. It's I learned so much from watching other people do stuff. I learned so much, and it's a really humbling experience to watch other people train, to watch how they are with the dog, to watch how the mechanics of it, how they move their bodies, how they react to how their dog reacts. And I learn something almost every week, and it's been a real eye-opener. And I think, talking about trusted dog trainers, you know, not that would come across necessarily in a website, but something that suggests that the person that you're about to spend money with, that you're about to entrust your relationship with your dog with your very best friend with, something that suggests that they are committed to learning more is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and a green flag as far as I'm concerned. Just to sort of put that little full stop on that little bit. Should we get into the nitty gritty of the red flags?
Yes. Do we need a change of outfit?
Red flag. Have you got a? Is there
a filter or something?
We can put a filter on. I don't know. I think probably just put a filter on me, so I'm not going to do that.
Little devil horns or something.
Yeah.
Like that. So, okay, yeah, I think we get into maybe the slightly controversial things when it comes to red flags, but things to avoid, in my opinion, would be, and this is a proper bugbear of mine. Again, if you disagree, maybe flag it up in the comments. I'm happy to have a chat about it. But I'm a big, I hate it. I'm going to say it. I hate it when I see people like guaranteeing things, like guaranteeing quick fixes, like 7 days you'll have your dog walking on a loose lead, or things along those lines. Quick fixes, let's call it that. Quick fixes. I think a trusted dog trainer knows through all of that, CPD and stuff that they've been doing, that, behavior is complex, even as a pet dog trainer, a lot of those things that you might think are easy to train, like recall, they come with a lot of caveats and a lot of things that we have to think about. So if someone 7 days that long, I think, no ethical professional working with a living sentient being is going to guarantee a specific outcome. So I think if you see that anywhere, I've realised I'm shaking around a lot because I'm very passionate about this. But if you see that on a website, like, I guarantee, we can get this. I think that's a bit of a red flag. I don't know. I'm assuming you'd agree with that, Nat, would you?
No, I don't agree with that at all. No, yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. Yeah, I do. I think, being open-minded, being a follower of science, being an empath, it all goes hand in hand with also knowing that you can't live in a world of absolutes, and for anyone that is new to dog training or just starting out, that gives you an out. You don't have to know the answer to everything, because I've been studying for goodness knows how many decades now, and I don't know the answer. And it's not a sign of weakness or a sign of failure. And being able to say, do you know what, I'm not sure, but I can ask someone, I can do some reading, I could refer you on. That is a strength and something that you should be proud to say. So to add to that red flag of guarantees, it's the absolutes, the statements of complete and definite fact, because there aren't many in the world.
And that's not to say as well, just adding into that, that's not to say that, trainers that follow a well-being and welfare path are ineffective, because that's something else that you might hear along there. It just means that we understand the emotional experience of not only the dog, but also the guardian, and what we need to put into place. And sometimes what you're seeing as a loose lead walking problem needs a little bit more digging into, for example. So I think Cam said it really good there in the little comment there. Never put a time frame on fixing something. Every dog is different and they learn at different paces.
Yeah.
Love that.
Really good.
Mic drop there, Cam.
Mic drop. We spoke to Suzanne Clothier this week, Corin and I, and she describes it as being on animal time. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I think I'm on animal time all the time. That's why I'm always late to everything.
I think you're on animal time all the time. I think actually I'm gonna narrow it down. I think you're on slug time.
It's because I get sidetracked on side quests.
Next red flag, and this one you would have hoped would have died a death by now, but it's still out there, unfortunately. So the use of sort of like terminology like dominance, being the alpha, the pack leader, those kind of things, any sort of references to you having to oppress the dog in some way or exert your dominance upon the dog, needing to be put in their place. That's another one you hear. All of those things. Why? This has been debunked for ages, but it still hangs around. So one of those old smelly socks that's stuffed behind your bed that you can't find but still stinks. It's one of, is that just me? I don't know. Hopefully I don't have to go into why, the whole dogs are not walls and all of this kind of thing, and the rigid hierarchies and all of that sort of stuff here, but I'd be happy to have conversations about it. But it just shows, I'm going to say, it shows a certain, that someone that appeals to, and who will choose to motivate your dog through the lens of dominance and hierarchies and all those things, the sort of person that appeals to, I personally would not want anywhere near my dog. And I think that's a huge red flag, because it often leads to, let's just say it, confrontational and dangerous training methods, and things that can have massive fallouts. And the fact that we're still talking about this stuff is slightly annoying to me. And I know, you know, the other side would argue furiously maybe about that, but yeah, I think as far as I'm concerned, the jury's out on that sort of stuff, and that would be a huge red flag to me.
Yeah, I think we all have a bit of a visceral, classically conditioned response to some terminology. So we also have to own that as dog trainers, and realise that sometimes words are just words, and you know, people are just trying to explain something for brevity's sake, or repeating something that they've read on the internet. So I'm not going to be jumping down a guardian's throat if they say dominance, but if a professional is trying to sell their services by explaining rank reduction strategies, then definitely red flaggeroo.
Again, you're looking for someone who is going to prioritize the relationship. And, you know, as long as you're going down that road, who's going to prioritize my relationship? Who's going to make the relationship better? Then, you know, you should be avoiding that sort of stuff anyway, I guess. But yeah, it's a huge one. And another one, the last one that I've got on the list is balanced. The word balanced. I think it's difficult ground to get into this, but from my experience, you know, trainers who call themselves balanced or claim to use something along the lines of like, I'm sure there's other ways they describe themselves as well, but like all the tools in the toolbox, which sounds actually fairly, I like the word balanced. You know what I mean? In every other facet of the world, the word balanced sounds really nice. I'd love to be balanced. I don't think I am balanced. I can't very well just balance on my own. But balance in itself sounds blooming marvelous. Who doesn't want to be balanced? You want a balanced diet, you want a balanced relationship, you want a balanced house. Yeah, okay. But yeah, in terms of dog training, you know, normally what balance means is they're going to use all the tools available to them, including aversive methods. You know, so that might mean, you know, they mix rewards with physical punishments, for example, or using certain tools like e-collars, prong collars, things along those lines. Pain, discomfort to stop unwanted behaviours, things along those lines. And I think the word balance carries a lot, and where it might look quite nice when you see it on a website, it is a red flag, and it's sad that it's a red flag, but it is a red flag for me.
Yeah, me too. And I think it comes full circle really back to that transparency. So, you know, if there are questions that you want to ask of people that you might be looking at employing the services of, then and you've seen something flashy, without judgment, you can ask, how did you train that? How did you get your dog to do that? Because we don't all have an in-depth understanding of learning theory and the application of training methods. But I guarantee that if a client asked me that, I would want to give them as much or as little information as they wanted. And I'd be very happy to have those conversations, and hopefully I would be classed as a trusted dog trainer, because, you know, we've kind of aligned ourselves with very similar sort of to the Hippocratic oath of do no harm. You know, yes, there are obviously legal and safety implications of not training your dog, or your dog not being responsive to you, and that's not where we end up if we refrain from using pain, fear, and intimidation to influence their behaviour. We end up in a really good place of good relationships and sort of mutual understanding and respect. So it's a win-win for me, but I would say that, wouldn't I? And yeah, I think sometimes it's really hard to be able to sort some of these things and know what methods people might be using. And I think asking questions is just the best way for everybody, because it's what we do in our learning. It's what we should be doing in our training. We should be asking questions of the people and the dogs in front of us, so that the answers and the advice that we provide is not only effective, but it's in line with the priorities that they have identified. It's realistic, it's targeted, it's going to work within our code of conduct. It's going to build their dog's confidence. It's going to build their confidence, because they're going to be able to work together as a team. And so, yeah, I think that there's loads that you can look for, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. But simply, it is knowing the right questions to ask, and red and green flags to look for on kind of more public facing marketing.
Yeah. Also, check their kit. You're looking for at least 5 or 6 Tug-E-Nuff toys in there. You're looking for treats. Check their kit. That's a good one, isn't it? That's just coming to me. Like, you're looking for how are they going to motivate your dog? How? Because it's not all treats. You're going to want toys as well, and if you want toys, I know we're obviously love Tug-E-Nuff toys, but you want someone who's going to be able to use play as a motivator, be able to use food as a motivator. All of these things as well. These are all great questions that you can ask.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things that really resonated with me is that it's really important about the dog, definitely, but you need to have that connection and trust, really, as the guardian. That is probably one of the most key parts, I think, really, because if you, as the guardian, don't necessarily trust or buy into what the dog trainer you're working with is suggesting that you do, or then that's a hurdle that's probably insurmountable, really. So I think that's such a really key piece of advice there.
Yeah, and you also, there's so many different personality types of dog trainer out there as well. So even one with all the green flags might not get the best out of you or your dog, and that's fine. That's okay. We find our tribe as dog trainers, people that vibe with our personalities, and all of those sorts of things as well. There's that to consider as well. But if you find as a dog trainer, one of the best things you can get is a sort of class. So maybe you start a puppy class, and then nearly all of that puppy class go on and do the next follow-on class. You take this community of people all the way through different classes, and they want to keep coming back, and it's such a joyous thing. It really, really is, to build a community of people who have the welfare of their dogs in mind, and it's fun, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But there's so many people out there that love dogs and love working with people, and it really is a wonderful, wonderful thing. There's so many dog trainers to trust out there.
100%. Yeah. It's really good. There's some great things for people to look out for. And also, as you said, if you are a dog trainer, and you're following that kind of code of practice, then actually things that you can do to maybe indicate to people that you're the type of person to look to work with the dog, because it can be a minefield. It's the same for anything, isn't it? Really, it's the same for anything that any service or thing that you're looking for. You want to find people that you can trust, and I think sometimes as humans we can be a little bit distrusting anyway. So giving people that kind of those green flags is a really good thing to do, for sure. So anybody got any questions for any of us? We've had quite a few as we go along, to be honest. There was one question. It wasn't necessarily a question. Where's it gone?
I'll just throw in as well. Oh, sorry. Go on, Danny.
That's all right. I was just scrolling back to try and find it, but it's probably too far back now. Actually, that sums it up, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, dog training should be fun. Yeah, it should be fun. You know, I think another one as well is not exhaustively this one, but like reading reviews can be helpful as well. You know, I wouldn't rely completely on maybe all the reviews that you get, but it can give you an idea how people have enjoyed and vibed with the trainer as well. That's another good one.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and to be honest, people that leave positive reviews, you know, you generally are, you know, people are quick to leave negative, but positive, somebody has to really like that, you know, that service or person to really go out there and leave those reviews. So yeah, that's been really, really cool, for sure. So if hold on, there is something here. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think it's just a statement rather than a question there, but yeah, definitely we've so if anybody wants to find out more about PACT and what you guys, the number one, what you guys do, or where can they go?
Am I going? You going? Go on,
Matt. You go. Go on.
I'll go. Okay, so our website is pact-dogs.com. You can find out pretty much everything about us. Our diet, no, not our diet. If you're interested in joining us, either as a student to become an ATI on our CTIC course, that's all on there. Or if you're already a professional that wants to join, there's different options and routes that you can join us on there. Go and have a look. Go and have a nose about. There's blogs on there. There's all sorts of stuff. We have a podcast called Barks from the Bookshelf, which is basically us geeking out with authors and other great minds in the dog training world. Danny's been on it as well.
Yeah, you can listen to my episode. I'm sure.
Yeah, we're coming up to our 100th episode, so there's loads and loads of content there. So if you want to go and check that out, that's just Barks from the Bookshelf. Find that on all the places where you find podcasts. And we also have, nearly forgot, a conference every year, DogX, who we've been proudly sponsored by Tug-E-Nuff for the last 2 years. And yes, basically we try and showcase some of the wonderful brains, either massive brains that have been around for ages or up and coming brains, to emphasize, the world of ethical training, well-being and welfare-based sort of training. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. Someone there has just put DogX is brilliant. So there you go. It's not just me, because I am biased. I will admit that. But yeah, DogX conference. In March we're about to launch tickets again. So keep an eye out for that. But if you come and follow us on all of our socials, or indeed join our mailing list, so if you go to our pact-dogs.com website, you'll have an option to join our mailing list. So we'll be sending out details about the conference and all the things we do, blogs, all of it. Go there.
And we're at Crufts. So if you are off for a day out to stare at dogs, busman's holiday, then please come and say hi, and we'll answer any of your questions. There'll be loads of us there to talk to you about anything you might want to find out. In Hall 3, I think, like 148, stand 148.
Sounds about right.
Look for the PACT flag. But yeah, we'll just come by and say hi. We would love to meet you. Yeah.
I'm sure you're just down the hall from us, so not very far away from Tug-E-Nuff. So we can say hello again as we do every year.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for doing this thing. It's been really, really cool. We will. I'm assuming now. This is where I don't know, but I'm assuming that people will be able to re-watch this from our Instagram grid, I think. but if not, we will download this and we will also upload it to our YouTube channel, so
Cool.
you can catch up there as well. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting us, Danny.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you to everyone
sorry,
that's listened
sorry,
in.
we're old.
Yeah, sorry, we're old.
I think that it's one of those things. It changes every 5 minutes, so actually, it's one of those things. But we got there in the end, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully see definitely see you guys at Crafts, but hopefully see some of you lot that have been listening in at Crafts. But yeah, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Thanks,
Take
everyone.
care.
Bye.
Bye.